Good evening and welcome to Wednesday Night Yoga, Sky Yoga with Stephanie. And today we're going to be focusing on the hips. And as always, we'll start with some pranayama, intentional breathing. And it's always, anytime you want to add a beanbag to your sit, that helps your thighs go down a little further. And that's especially appropriate today with opening up the hip joints. So find your seated position. Allow your lower body to relax down and support you. And then your upper body sort of floats upright with your spine nice and centered, arms loose and relaxed. And then lower your eyelids, look down at the ground, tuck your chin, and feel your neck line up with the rest of your spine as well. And then relax your belly and just breathe. And then for the next phase of pranayama, intentional breathing, choose something about your breath to change. So today I'm going to focus on really relaxing the belly and drawing the breath all the way down with the inhale. And then for the third phase, we'll do energizing cleansing breaths. So this is where we fill up the entire torso like a big beach ball, and then use your ab muscles to force that air out. And you can tell if your lungs are filling when your elbows go out to the side. And for your next exhale, feel free to join me in sticking out your tongue for the lion's breath. And make a little roar. Okay, now we'll stretch the neck. So drop your chin down. Let your head hang with its own weight. Try to keep your torso upright. So we're not leaning forward, just the head hanging. Maybe do some gentle wobbles. And when you feel like your neck is starting to feel a little more limber, you can roll your neck side to side. Big half circle. And once that starts to feel good, then maybe you want to take your head and neck in a full circle. Again, trying to keep your body upright and your shoulders relaxed downward. And then, of course, if you're circling, circle the other way. And then let's sit up nice and tall again. Open the arms wide. Inhale and reach up high. Exhale and release. Ooh, excuse me. Inhale and reach. Exhale and release. And one more time. Inhale, reach. Pause. And then exhale to one side. In a side bend. So your hips stay down. Your top elbow pulls back. Your bottom elbow bends. So feeling a nice long stretch in the upper side. And then let's make big circles. And then change direction. And then sit back up, arms level. Inhale, reach high. And exhale, dropping down into a side bend on the other side. Stretching that upper side. And then big circles. And now let's change direction. Sit up nice and tall, thumbs up, fingers spread, and push the hands back. Puff out your chest, robin's breast. Squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. Neck remains loose. And then a big old hug, pulling your shoulder blades forward and apart. So sleepy. And then inhale, open wide. Flip the thumbs down and bring the hands together behind you. Maybe you clasp your hands and pull your shoulders back. And this should feel like cow pose, right? Your belly poking forward, your shoulders pulled way back. Breathe. And then another big hug with the other elbow on top. And let's finish off with some shoulder rolls. So resting your hands, roll your shoulders around, nice and big with your breath. And then change direction. Goodness, I'm so sorry. All right, and now we're going to transition to hands and knees and do cats and cows. So from your tabletop position, lengthen up through the arms, shoulder blades pull forward, belly pushes up, head drops down, and arch your back as high as it will arch like an angry cat, pushing your belly into your spine, and then swing back. Feel the length in your arms and your back. You can maybe even slide your hands out a little bit in front to feel even longer from hips to fingertips. And then bending the elbows, pull your hands back if they went forward. Lift up your head and chin, lift up your hips and drop your belly, swooping your back into cow pose. Inhale, exhale, and reverse it. So keep flowing through, inhaling forward and exhaling backward. Take your time so you can feel the stretch. As your back limbers up and you feel length between your vertebrae, opening up. And then the next time that you're in the middle, come back to your neutral tabletop and we'll do thread the needle. So left arm stays down, right arm reaches for the sky. Inhale and then exhale down to the floor. And if this is stressful for you, put something under your head. It could be your hand or a pillow or a block. And then we're going to bring the hands together and slide out the top hand. Really reach. Take your time to get your arm into full extension, relaxing both shoulders, especially your bottom shoulder. Just let it be crushed into the mat. And then on your next exhale, maybe you can wrap your left arm around behind you. And then roll your right forearm with an open or closed fist along the floor. All right, let's unwind that left arm, pressing back up and inhaling the right arm high. Exhale it down and switch sides. So right arm stays down, left arm inhales to the sky. And I'm feeling that stretch all the way down in the right hip. And then exhale to the floor. Resting your head on something if you need to. Hands begin palm to palm, and then the right arm slides out. Reach long and relax your left shoulder. You sink down into it. Breathe. And on your next exhale, if you like, you can wrap your right arm around behind you and roll your left arm on the floor. And then unwind your right arm, press up. Inhale the left arm high. And exhale it down. And now we'll do kickstand for the legs. So extend your right leg behind you and just swirl your foot around. Take it the other direction. Feel the stretch in your calf. And then swing your leg out to the side and ease back, resting on your heel and your forearms. And just relax that right leg and reach toward your right ankle. Take your time coming back to center, hand first, hips and knee. And then we'll switch sides. Extend the left leg straight back, flex at the ankle, and swirl your foot around. And swirl it the other way. And then swing it out to your side and come back into your supported position, resting on elbows and forearms. You can always put a block or a cushion under your arms if that would be easier. Relax the left leg and reach for your ankle. And then slowly come back up to tabletop. Time for me to take off the socks. And then we'll come to tabletop and do drunken cow, Sufi rolls. So from tabletop position, we just swirl the body around. Getting the hips and shoulders moving. Maybe your circles get bigger as you loosen up. Maybe they stay the same, whatever works for you tonight. And now we're going to change direction. If this is hard on your knees, put something under your knees, a folded towel or blanket. That was my knee cracking. That's why I told you that. All right. So let's go into our hip stretches just right off the bat. Let's come around onto the back and walk. Go. And hug the knees into the chest and just rock, letting your low back relax. So anytime we work on the hips, we're also working on low back and quads, the adjacent muscle groups. So let your low back relax, just gently rocking. And then we're going to place the hands on the kneecaps and take your knees in circles. So extend your arms fully and then pull your knees in as close as they'll come. And check in with your low back. Is it still relaxed or did it tense up? Try to let it relax again. And your hip joints. That's what we're doing, is kind of loosening things up there. And then let's change direction. So keeping the low back loose and flexible, really doing all this work with your arms, letting your legs be passive. All right, and now pulling the knees in, we're going to lift the feet up and grab the highest point you can, shin, ankle, foot, whatever. Extend your arms and pull your feet apart. And we're going to rock side to side in a pose called Happy Baby. And what I'm feeling as I go down on each side when my thigh touches the floor is a gentle stretch in the inner thigh. So we're holding the hip joints open and gently stretching the connecting muscles. The adductors. And still, again, check in with your back. Let it be relaxed. All right, and now coming to center, bring your feet together. My hands always want to go up a little bit, so maybe hold your ankles or your shins here. We're going to press the knees away and pull the ankles in. For reclined Baddha Konasana, Baddha Konasana, Baddha Konasana. I'm just trying to say that clearly. All right, and relax your low back, relax your glutes if you find them tensed. So we're letting the weight of your legs stretch your inner thighs, open up your hip joints. And then release the ankles. Let them come down and touch the mat. Now you may feel your low back arch off the mat. That's fine. If it's uncomfortable, you can stick something under there, a cushion or a blanket. You can gently rock your knees side to side, or you can more actively flap them up and down, whatever feels good. And this is Supta Baddha Konasana. Bound angle pose. Reclined variation. All right, and now gently bring your knees up, feet stay on the floor. You might pull your feet in closer to your body. Release your arms down to the floor, and we're going to push the hips up into bridge pose. So use your glutes. Squeeze your shoulders together. Maybe your arms can meet underneath your rib cage. Pushing those hips up high toward the sky. And release your arms out back to your sides again and slowly roll down. See if you can do it in segments. Upper back, mid back, lower back, tailbone. And once you're all the way down, give your knees a hug. All right, let's roll to one side and push up to seated. We're going to sit with the knees bent in front, feet nice and wide, hands behind you for windshield wipers. These are really nice, relaxing twists for the hip and low back. So your feet have to be wide enough that your knee can come all the way down to the mat if you're able to get it all the way down to the mat. Make room for it. Yeah, I just heard my hip pop. A little air coming out of the joint there. All right, and the next time that both your knees are pointing left, we're going to bring both hands around in front of your left knee and then come down and rest your torso on your left thigh. So your left thigh and your torso are both pointing at the side of the room. And then your right thigh is at a right angle to your left thigh. And your left heel is probably near your right knee. And we're just going to relax down. You can relax onto a cushion or have your hands on the floor and your forehead on top of your hands. And just let your weight sink down into your left hip. Imagine pie dough being rolled out, gently stretched by the weight of the rolling pin. Relax both legs, both thighs. One more long, deep breath. And then we'll straighten the arms and come back up. So left hand supports you, right arm comes back around. Make sure your feet are nice and wide, and let's do a couple more of those windshield wipers. Kind of resetting back to neutral before we do the other side. So when you're ready and knees are pointing right, check that your thighs are forming a right angle, and bring your torso down to rest on your right thigh. Your arms are in front of your right knee. You can put a block under your arms if you like. It's kind of awkward for me. And just let your whole body weight crush your right hip into the floor. So you have to relax your right hip. This is hard for me, so that's what I'm going to be focusing on. Breathing in relaxation, breathing out tension. And with every exhale, I sink a little further down as I relax a tiny bit more. Relax both thighs. One more long, deep breath. And then straighten your arms. Left arm comes back behind you. Feet are wide, and we'll do just a couple more of those swipes. Okay, what is next? Let's go into half lightning pose. This is very similar to what we just did, which is called zebra pose. So how to get into this? We're going to fold the left leg so your shin is in front of you, just as if you were going to be sitting cross-legged. So your left leg is folded in front. And now we're going to bring, you can take your right hand to your right ankle and bring your right shin behind you. And now we're kind of sitting here in this open position. I'm already feeling a stretch in the inside of the right hip. So if this is an awkward position for you, just kind of try to relax into this, right? Sitting up straight, relaxing your arms, breathing long and gentle. The next phase, if you feel like, okay, I got this, is you would come down onto your left elbow. Ooh, and I'm already feeling more stretch in the right thigh. So you can pause here. You can stop wherever your comfort edge is and don't push into something that's too uncomfortable. And if you want to take it even further, I have to make some room. There we go. Bring your right elbow behind you as well. And some people can actually lie on their back. That's not safe for me. This is a pretty intense quad stretch for me. So just let your knees drop down. Feel that stretch in the right thigh, in the right quad. Breathe. You can let your head drop if that's comfortable or not. And if you're down here, how do you get back up? Bring your weight into your left hand and forearm, and then bring your right arm around to your left side, and then straighten both arms to push up. That's how you get up. And then come back to the initial position. So we're going to do the other side. Don't be surprised if one side is like way different than the other. This is a pretty intense stretch and we don't do it that often. So be kind to yourself. So we're going to bring the right foot in now in front of you and grab your left ankle and pull it behind you. So your knees are almost even in front of you. It's just that one foot's in front and the other is behind. Again, this might be plenty of stretch for you, so you can stop right here. Or maybe you can come down on your right elbow, starting to feel more stretch in the quad. And if that's not too uncomfortable, you can come down on your left elbow as well and let both knees sink down to the floor. And maybe you're flexible enough to come down on your back. I'm not. Be careful. So this is a really intense quad stretch for me. Breathe deeply. And now to get out, we're going to shift our weight into the right elbow and forearm. Bring your left arm around to your right side. Straighten both arms and push up. Very nice. Okay, and now what is next? Gotta look at my notes. Oh yes, rock the baby. It's one of my favorites. So we're going to come into a similar position. Let's start with the right leg folded in, and then we're going to rock the baby. Bring the heel of your left foot somewhere on your right forearm. So if this is tough for you, you would start at your wrist. If you've been doing this a while, you can probably get your foot up into your elbow crease. And then your left knee goes into your left elbow. So you can embrace your leg like this, wrapping your forearms around your shin. If that's not doable, then try this alternate. You can put both your forearms under your shin and then forklift it up. Either way, what we're going to feel, what I'm feeling, is a stretch in the left outer hip. So we're going to rock the baby. I always start side to side. Ooh. And then forward and back. You can feel this in the low back as well. And then maybe you can make some little circles. And if you're doing little circles, go the other way. You just feel all those muscles being pulled around gently in different directions in your outer hips. And now with the left hand, grab your left foot and see if you can get your legs straight, maybe even vertical. Oh yeah, I lost my balance. And now we're going to bring the left leg down in front, hello McLeod, and switch to the right leg. So your left leg is folded in front, just like being cross-legged. You're going to grab your right foot in your right hand and bring the heel somewhere between your wrist and your elbow. Your right knee is in your right elbow. Again, this could feel really different from one side to another. And the alternate is forearms under your shin and fork lifted up. This is a little more, this is the pose that gives it its name, rock the baby. It looks a little more like this. It's not called forklift pose, but that's a fine alternative if you need it. So go side to side, go front to back. Try little circles maybe. Circle the other way. And now we'll grab the right foot in the right hand and see if you can get your leg nice and straight and maybe even vertical. Maybe I can keep my balance this time. Yeah. And bring it down. Okay, and now we'll go into Baddha Konasana, seated version. Pulling your feet in close, dropping your knees down, relax your thighs, relax your hips. You can bounce your knees up and down if you like. You can rock on your pelvis. But we're sitting up straight here. Chest open, puffing forward like we did in Robin's breath. So this is not a hunched over pose. Feel the length in your back, the fullness in your chest, the openness. Press those knees down. Great. And now extend your legs out in front and shake them out. And we'll wrap up with a twist. So bending your left knee, cross it over your right leg and hug your left knee. Feel your back straighten as you hug your knee, lifting up high. And then we're going to take your right arm outside your left knee and your left arm behind you, twisting around. Looking over your left shoulder. And then slowly coming back to center, hug your knee again to re-straighten your back. And then we'll change the cross of the legs. Extend your left leg, cross your right leg over. Give it a hug. Back nice and straight. And then your left arm comes outside your right knee. Your right arm comes behind you. And we're looking over the right shoulder. And I'm really feeling the stretch in my right hip, as well as a gentle twist up the spine. Relax your right leg. Let your arm push it. And then come back to center and hug your knee. Lifting your back, straightening it out. Very nice. We'll come down now and do knee down twist as a prelude to Shavasana. So on the back, lifting your knees so that they're directly above your hips. Your thighs will be vertical. Your arms tee out to the sides. And we're going to drop the knees down to the right. The right hand holds them down. And then you can look up at the ceiling or away from your knees over your left shoulder. So again, a very gentle spinal twist and a stretch for that upper hip. Bringing your head back to center, engage your abs and pull your knees up to center. Protect your back by using your abs and your arms to help move the knees and give them a hug, neutralizing your back again before we twist the other way. So lift your knees, thighs are vertical, arms tee out, knees drop left. Left hand holds them down. Let your knees just hang heavy, stretching your right hip. You can look at the ceiling or over your right shoulder. Relax the leg weight down. Head back to center, core engages, knees up, give them a hug. And it's time for Shavasana. So you can do this with legs fully extended, If you want more low back support, then bend your knees, feet nice and wide, and let the knees collapse inward. You can also, of course, put a cushion under your knees if they're extended. That can help with support. And let's relax from head to toe. Whew. Let your head sink back into the mat. Let your scalp relax. Let the little muscles around your ears relax. Let your forehead relax. Let your eyes be soft and unfocused. Let your nose relax. Let all the little muscles around your mouth relax. And let your big jaw muscle relax. Can even be slack jawed if you want. And let your tongue relax. Let your whole face go soft. And note that your neck is supported. Your neck is just a bridge between your head and your shoulders, and it doesn't have to do any work right now. And let your throat relax as well, so your breath can just freely pass in and out. Let your shoulders soften and sink back. Let your upper arms soften and sink down. Let your elbows weigh heavy. Let the backs of your hands weigh heavy. Feel like you have bean bags in your palms. Gently pressing your hands downward. And fingers are relaxed. Let your rib cage relax and soften. Let your belly relax and soften. And let your spine sink downward. And down to the hips where we spent so much attention today. Let your glutes relax into the mat. And let your thighs relax so that they roll outward if your legs are extended. And your feet are pointing outward. And let your thighs and hamstrings be heavy. Let your knees be soft. Let your calves relax. Let your heels be heavy. And let your foot relax. Toes are soft. And just lie here and breathe. Now take a nice deep breath, sending fresh air all throughout your body. Begin making small movements. And then larger movements. And then a full body movement. Maybe it's a full body stretch. Maybe you roll up into a little ball. Whatever feels right to you. And then roll to one side. Pausing here. And when you're ready, push up to seated. Charles will lead Wednesday yoga next week. His tentative title is 5 New Poses. So I hope to see you there. Namaste.